All right, Bears fans, welcome back. Bear down, and let's get into this sucker because I know this is the one that so many people want to have talked about, and it's one that took a lot of background work to do. So there's a reason there was a gap between a couple of my videos. Guys, this analysis stuff in any industry, not just in sports media, in any industry, to do proper analysis, it takes a lot of work. So that's why I'm a little quiffed over the whole Clay Harbor stats thing. Can't do anything about it. No big deal. We know where they got it from. It took a lot of work to compile that stuff together. But I've got some meat and potatoes in this one that you guys are going to like. This focuses on, is Justin Fields holding on to the ball too long? And I'm going to give you the answer right off the bat. Yes, he's holding on to the ball too long. If your standard is every other quarterback in the league. We're going to show what I mean by that. But is he a detriment to the team by how long he's holding on to the ball? No. He's actually helping the team, and I'm going to prove it through stats and analysis, so let's go. First of all, before I lay some foundation, let's look at this constant one I'm doing over and over again. I'm surprised it hasn't been stolen, but quarterback over the year, Justin Fields, his poor pass rating has come down. His adjusted completion percentage has come up. His pressures that turn into sacks have come down, and especially when you combine that with the thrown away percentage, he's throwing away 7.9% of the balls. He's taking less sacks. He's not letting pressures turn into those sacks. And he's still maintaining big-time throws at a very above-average level for the NFL. 5.5% is above average for big-time throws. Below 5 is below average. And, of course, here's the blown-up chart that has gone out there. How much his receivers are dropping the ball. Contested catches aren't being caught. Passer rating when targeted. This shows a lot of different things. But the basis of this, guys, isn't to do anything to excuse Justin Fields because we don't need to. When you look at DJ Moore and his 119.6 passer rating when targeted, you look at him having a career year with 1,364 yards and 8 touchdowns, we don't have to excuse Justin Fields. We're just giving context to what's actually happening. And other people, they've got an answer for everything. All these Fields haters have an answer for everything, but it's not an answer. It's excuses against him, so it drives me nuts. I shouldn't actually focus on that at all. They say, well, those drops are actually a low number. Well, that's how it works. When you have a high drop percentage and you have a low number thrown to you because you're not getting open and you're not separating and you're not catching your contested catches, you're going to have a high drop percentage. It's the law of averages, and it works that way with everybody. Cole Kmet, I didn't put him on this one. He's on my main one. You guys have seen it. 1.4% drop because he's getting more throws to him. DJ Moore getting more throws to him, but he's not dropping as many. That's how it works. That's how averages work. So these narratives... They're old. They're old like my gym sucks. Put them out to pasture. But here's what we're going to focus on today. And this is going to be new stuff that I haven't released yet. I've been working on it for a while. We're going to compare Justin Fields to the rest of the league. And there's one huge line I'm going to give you right in the middle of this. I don't do well on hiding things till the end. PAK right there, guys. How many passing plays result in a quarterback being pressured in any way whatsoever? Let's go over all those real quick. There's 5 things on here. The poor pass percentage, that's a percentage of passes that were in poor placement by the quarterback. So quarterback's fault. PKT time, that's the pocket time, average time in seconds between the snap and when the quarterback throws the ball or is pressured. So that's the pocket time, how much time they have in the pocket. So you guys hearing all these narratives about how Justin Fields has all this extra time, I'm going to show you all the other quarterbacks. His pocket time is extremely average. It's just like everybody else's. We're no different than any other team. But the time to throw, average time in seconds from when the ball is snapped to when the quarterback throws the ball, Justin Fields' time is significantly higher. But I think you already know the reason why, and I'm going to show it in this video through stats and analysis. All right, we already did PAK. And then the last one, pass blocking efficiency. This is where the line ranks on their pass blocking efficiency. So we're only focusing on pass blocking for pass plays. Okay, 26th. That's where the Bears rank. Pass block efficiency, 26th. All right, there's no way I can fit every single team onto one screen and have it able so you guys can see it and so I can talk about all of them. But I want you guys to notice that 5th line again, the PAK. And this is a pressure in any way. So even a hurry, that doesn't even have to be the big variety of the sacks or the hits. It's a hurry as well. So a pressure, when the quarterback has pressure. And everyone's gauged the same way in the league. But look at those teams at the top. So I organize these as main players in the league as well as players that often get related to the Bears. You know, Jordan Love because he's in the division, C.J. Stroud because he was drafted last season, And some people said we could have taken C.J. Stroud and Jalen Hurts because he's a similar style, Lamar Jackson because he's a similar style, Geno Smith because he's worked with Shane Waldron as well as he has a similar style. Bryce Young because he was taken last year, Zach Wilson taken in the same year as Justin Fields, and their line is 31st, and Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill because their line is 32nd. If you pause this and look at it, you'll see why I selected just a few examples, but that PAK of 60.4 is higher than any team in the entire NFL. So the Bears are allowing more pressures of any kind, and you can't sit here and blame it on Justin Fields because his pocket time is the same as everybody else's. What you can do is you can credit Justin Fields for the line rank being 26th instead of 33rd, 34th, 38th, 50th, college level. If you get my point there, obviously I know there's only 32 teams in the NFL, but if you get my point, he's getting pressured on 60% of his pass plays, 3 out of 5. Pressures of any kind. And he's making it so his line isn't the worst line in the NFL. Think about that for just a second. Yes, his time to throw is higher. Why is his time to throw higher? Well, let's dig into some deeper metrics on it. Here's Justin Fields when the pocket is kept clean and when there's a dirty pocket. A dirty pocket just means there's a pressure of any kind. It's a slang term kind of, but most people understand what that means. If you didn't, now you do. A dirty pocket just means he didn't get a chance to throw in a clean pocket, which is, for the Bears, only 40% of the time for a clean pocket. You've got a quarterback with an NFL passer rating of 95.6, time to throw 2.76, which is long. Well, what excuse do we have now for that? Well, we've already shown it over and over again. But maybe if we use Clay Harbor stats, and I use that in air quotes and as much sarcasm as I possibly can because he absolutely stole it from me. That's okay. That's not the point of this video, guys. But I'm telling you right now, these things didn't get compiled on one screen. They didn't get compiled on one sheet. They got compiled from hours of going back and forth from different player screens and pulling information from different spots. And yes, if you see it, you can verify it. And they can easily do that and say, okay, dude, this guy came up with good stuff. We can verify it, and we can now use it on NBC Sports Night in Chicago, and we can call them Clay Harbor stats. But the reality is, what do they mean? Well, Cole Kmet and DJ Moore create separation, get contested catches, and don't drop the ball, have a passer rating of 119, 109 with them, but everybody else isn't really up to snuff. He needs help. I don't know how else we can say it. The Fields haters are going to deny it, but it's reality. You cannot win by yourself as a quarterback. He tried in 2022, and he broke rushing records, and you guys dismantled him for that. Now he took less rushes, and he slid more and still got hit and didn't get calls by the refs. Improved every metric of his game, ran less to try to avoid injury, and you guys dismantle him for that. It's bizarre. All right, but let's look at what's more important. The dirty pocket has an NFL pass rating of 72.8, time to throw of 4.06, and adjusted completion percentage of 67.9. Is that bad? Is that good? Yeah, it's good. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's good. Justin Fields is a good quarterback. And just because he extends plays and he takes 4 seconds to throw a ball on a dirty pocket doesn't make him a bad quarterback or that he's holding on to the ball too long. Need I remind you, on fourth line over, his pressure's turning into sacks. He's getting pressured more than ever. He's getting pressured on 60% of the times he drops back. And yet, he's only sacked on 20% of those, taking less sacks than the majority of those who have that many. And we're going to blame him for that. We're going to blame him for getting out of those and having big-time throws and creating positive plays and having a 67.9% adjusted completion percentage, which is one of the highest in the league when pressured. Higher than Jalen Hurts. Right up there with Dak Prescott. Why did Dak Prescott have such a career year? A lot of people don't take the time to analyze it. I've been hard on Dak Prescott. There's no way I can be hard on Dak Prescott this year after having a 79.4 adjusted completion percentage when the pocket's clean and 72.2% adjusted completion percentage when he has a dirty pocket. Now, he doesn't have a dirty pocket very often because he's got a freaking amazing offensive line. Same with Tua Tagovailoa. But look, if Tua did have a horrible offensive line and they didn't throw as many screens as they did, which let's go to this real quick, because there's going to be you guys out there who say, well, Tyson Bagent didn't take that many dirty pockets, or he didn't have that many pressures. Tyson Bagent was babied like a little baby in kindergarten by Luke Getsy. Tyson Bagent threw 1 out of every 6 plays that he was in was a screen. Highest in the entire NFL for a quarterback that took as many snaps as he did. They didn't trust Tyson Bagent with that line. And it wasn't because Tyson Bagent's not good. It's because that line is freaking garbage. And Justin Fields wasn't there to scramble out of it and be freaking Houdini. You guys watched what he did escaping from those games. It was miraculous. My jaw was on the floor just like the rest of you guys. When you watch Justin Fields scramble and escape out of those things, I think it was twice in, 5-6 plays. It was all relatively within each other against the Falcons when he escaped like 3 sacks where he was completely wrapped up and created positives out of them. But somehow he's a negative. Guys, I don't know how it's to explain it, but these are positive things. And unless you understand the metrics of them, 67.9% adjusted completion percentage, when you're pressured as often as he is, means this kid is freaking special. You want to know where I say he's elite from? This right here proves that Justin Fields is elite. To have a 72.8% NFL rating, or 72.8 rating, and a 67.9% adjusted completion percentage, and being able to do that in 4 seconds when you've got 300-pound guys barreling down on you and you're escaping those and creating positive plays, that is elite. All right, so what is the real story? What are the Bears' biggest needs? I've shown this graph so many different times. This is print screened with color to help code it from PFF. This is the Bears' starting rotation, starting roster lineup. Yes, I've got more than 11 guys on the field because I've got the 11 personnel and the 12 personnel on the screen at the same time. You can see both tight ends are on there. Shane Waldron likes his 2 tight end sets. That's 12 personnel. We're going to draft or sign a tight end. I guarantee it. That's going to happen. Robert Tonyan is not coming back. Red. Slot receiver. Darnell Mooney. Red. Tyler Scott. X receiver. Not an X receiver, but I mean guys, look at that. Tyler Scott is lined up here as our X receiver. How do we justify not saying there is a huge problem in the Chicago Bears at wide receiver? We haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first or second round since Alshon Jeffrey. That was a second rounder. Kevin White, the last first rounder decade ago, was a bust because of his injuries. Then you look at the middle there, the offensive line. Braxton Jones, a light green. Good, not great. He had a little rough year, part of that injury, but serviceable. Tevin Jenkins, great, but again, didn't even play for a good portion of the year. Lucas Patrick, awful. God-awful. I'm telling you, awful. It was terrible. Nate Davis, terrible. That was borderline red. It was almost red. It should have been red. One more bad game and it would have been red. Darnell Wright, green, a lot of work to do. A rookie, played like a rookie, but improved a ton. And he did end up with a green grade at the end, but there's a lot of work to do there. We've overestablished the wide receiver position. Let me show you some things with the tackles, guards, centers, where we're lacking, and it's primarily at depth. Your tackles, your right tackle and left tackle, are going to contribute to most of the pressures that come. They shouldn't be coming from the interior of your offensive line at all. That should not be happening. Your 3 technique is going to try to cause that, and the best ones do cause that, so there is some that comes from there. But your left tackle and right tackle account for most of it. Well, when you take into consideration where most of our pressures came from, yes, the left tackle had 26%, which was not fantastic, but Braxton Jones only accounted for 32 of those in 420 snaps, which is not bad at all. It really isn't. We can go into more on that in another video, but Larry Borum, 25 and 225 snaps, which is terrible. So I've said it before. Now you guys understand why. Larry Borum allowed 25 pressure, sacks, hit, or hurry in 225 snaps. These are pass snaps. We're not focusing on the run game right now. We're focusing on the passing game. At left guard, 14.6% of pressures came from there. That is not good. for your left guard position. But when you break it down, Tevin Jenkins only had 10 of those in 245 snaps. That is good. Cody Whitehair had 19 in 384 snaps. Not horrible, but definitely not good. Where Cody Whitehair really struggled was at center, as well as Lucas Patrick. Cody Whitehair used to be an All-Pro. Cody Whitehair used to be great. And so it is sad that we cut him, and he was a big part of this Bears team back in 2018 especially, where we had a run where we should have gone farther than it did, but it didn't. But he didn't necessarily do great this year for us. He did awful, actually. But Ja'Tyre Carter, he was in for 6 snaps at left guard, 2 pressures on those 6 snaps. He's got to go. Again, we talked about this before. This was out of necessity. We had to have these guys playing out of necessity. This is the draft. This is the offseason where we fix the offensive line. We need an X receiver with our first pick, guaranteed. I don't care what you Fields haters think. If we don't fix that with our first pick, if we don't pick Marvin Harrison Jr. or Rome Odunze, a true X receiver, a high point receiver that can go up and get the ball, that can run routes. Yes, Malik Neighbors is a top tier receiver as well. I think we need the height. We need a high pointer. If we pick any one of those 3, that's fine, but we need a true X receiver. After that, this line had better be focused on. Lloyd Cushenberry at center for the Broncos. Sorry, brain fart. Lloyd Cushenberry for the Broncos had more or less than half as many pressures than our entire team allowed in the center position. For his team, he allowed about 5 to 6%. Don't fact check me on that one. But I know it was 14 total pressures for the entire year, playing every snap at center for the Broncos. Our centers gave up 14.3% of our pressures, which is horrible. Your center should be the anchor of the inside. They shouldn't be letting guys through on the inside. It should go inside out to where the pressures come from. It was bad. Lucas Patrick did not do a good job. 28 by him. And when Cody Whitehair was in there, he wasn't doing any better. Right guard accounted for 18.4% of pressures. Most of those came from Nate Davis, who we have talked about thoroughly, had a rough year. And right tackle, 22.9% of pressures, which is not great. We want that to be closer to 20 or below. But you watched in games where Darnell Wright was using one arm to stave off Max Crosby, where he was playing elite competition with one arm with that injury, and he played through it. He did a very good job for a rookie. And then third need, slot receiver. Nothing I'm saying in here should be foreign to anybody, but what should be understood from the entire concept of this video is our quarterback is not the issue. That young man right there, 24 years old, highest character possible, put his head down, go to work, freaking leader, is not the issue. He's putting up just as good adjusted completion percentage numbers and NFL passer rating numbers as those guys that are in the top of the league with their protection that they get. Again, look at what those top guys are getting. Best pass blocking and fishing by their line from Tua Tagovailoa. And you saw what he did when he was under pressure, 55% adjusted completion percentage. That's really not good at all. Dak Prescott, third line. Lamar Jackson. This is just the pass block efficiency, not overall. But Jordan Love, 10th. C.J. Stroud, 12th. Justin Fields, 26th. And how much did he contribute for that coming up from 32nd to 26th? When you look at those numbers, pressures of any kind, 60.4%. Below him, those guys below him, 44, 48, 51, 37, 51, 46. Nobody else was pressured the way Justin Fields was pressured in the NFL. And yet, he still put up adjusted completion percentage better than most in the league. Definitely higher than Jordan Love. Definitely higher than C.J. Stroud. Especially out of a dirty pocket. And yet, we're going to crucify him for doing his job in the worst of circumstances. We're going to crucify him for carrying this team on his back. Without Justin Fields, this team over the last 3 years would be a perennial team that was redrafting quarterbacks over and over again. We would have taken Bryce Young. We wouldn't have taken C.J. Stroud because Bryce Young screamed class and character to everybody and went first overall for a reason. We didn't have the number 2 pick. We had the number 1 pick. and C.J. Stroud's intelligence test, blah, 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 everything else, he wasn't going to be picked number one. And good for him for stepping into a situation where he had a good support cast, excellent receivers getting over and high pointing. He could huck Hail Marys up and had trust for them to come down. His poor pass rating was extremely higher than Justin Fields. Don't forget that. Is C.J. Stroud a bad quarterback? Absolutely not, obviously. Look what he just did. He's a good quarterback. But would he have done in this situation with the Bears what Justin Fields has done? Not with his receivers, not with this line. Same with Jordan Love. Their pass block efficiency, 10th and 12th by their lines. They were only pressured on a third of their plays. They can sit in that pocket, wait for guys to get open, have multiple receivers that had high PFF grades, high contested catch ratings, low drop percentages, and were getting open. Justin Fields didn't have that. I don't know how else to say it, guys. All I can continue to pound the table and do is saying, this guy is not the problem. I've proven it over and over and over on this channel, and the stats in this video will back it up yet again, that we have to get an X receiver, we have to improve the offensive line, we have to get additional help in the receiver room, and he is going to shine. You saw what Shane Waldron did with Geno Smith. Shane Waldron was chomping at the bit in his interview, this is according to Adam, chomping at his bit in his interview because he knew how bad the Bears' offensive line was. He knew how good Justin Fields is under pressure with a dirty pocket, and that if we fix this line, he's got a quarterback that has elite attributes and can do special things. Look what he had with Geno Smith. Why did Geno Smith win that starting job? Same similar situation. Now, there's things they can coach you on, how to release the ball quicker, but when he gets better receivers, it's going to be a lot better. This is not a situation where we're in dire straits. This is a situation where we just have to continue to fix the team brick by brick. And I'm going to keep pounding the table because I see the reality of it, and so many of you just want to regurgitate what the media narrative is spitting out there and telling you, and they don't tell you the truth until it comes on NBC Sports Night in Chicago, and Clay Harbor takes credit for stats that aren't Clay Harbor stats. That's all right. We can compile them, and they can see them, because the reality is there's truth behind these narratives, and there's lies behind the narratives. Does Justin Fields hold on to the ball too long? Yeah, he does. Is it a detriment to this team? Well, not when he's holding on to it for 4.06 seconds and still has an NFL passer rating at 72.8 and adjusted completion percentage of 68 in a dirty pocket. That's not a detriment when it's resulting in positive plays, when he's escaping and scrambling and still getting it downfield with accuracy and precision. That's not a problem. So the narratives have got to eventually stop, and they will when people see the reality with an improved offensive line, when you've got Jackson Powers-Johnson or Lloyd Cushenberry in there at center, Zach Zinter or another guard in there at guard, and maybe we do take Joe Alt, guys, and we have a stronger swing tackle. Not saying that's what I want to happen, but this offensive line needs help, and it needs to protect its quarterback more than 39% of the time. Because if you want Justin Fields to be elite, if you want him to have the same chance as Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud, then let him have a clean pocket 67% of the time instead of a dirty pocket 60% of the time. That's facts. That's spitting facts. That's spitting actual analytics at you, unlike the narratives. And with that, all I have left to say is if you haven't subscribed, please do so because I appreciate it and it helps me keep doing stuff like I'm doing right here. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so because it helps to get around. And until next time, thanks for tuning in and bear down.